Sky News can reveal that Penny Wong will not be going to the G20 Foreign Ministers Meeting in Brazil this week. The Foreign Minister is caring for her mother, who is seriously unwell in Adelaide. Sky News understands that Katy Gallagher will travel in Penny Wong's place for this first significant commitment in the G20 year hosted by Brazil. Now, there has been speculation that Penny Wong will quit politics within months. My understanding is that Penny Wong's view is she's worked for 9 years to get this job. It's the position in politics that she wants. And my understanding is she isn't going anywhere. Let's bring in my colleague, senior political reporter Trudy McIntosh. Trudy, as I say, there have been reports that Penny Wong might move on. I can say today that that's not the case. She's enjoying the job. She's not going anywhere. And
there'll be many within Labor who'll be very happy to hear that news, Kieran. She is well respected not only within Labor ranks, but meticulous and fearless operator, respected on both sides of politics for her work in foreign policy, but also her work here in Parliament over the last decade or so. It's worth thinking of her history as you reflect on Penny Wong as a foreign minister. She's the first foreign-born foreign minister here in Australia. She came to Australia from Malaysia when she was just 8 years old. I've travelled with her before with the Prime Minister. She's incredibly good at what she does on the ground. You can see that. She is forensic when it comes to detail and preparation. She always wants to make sure she's well on top of things, but also situating our foreign policy within the region we live in, Kieran, that she sees this as the old Keating view, as we are getting our security in Asia and not from Asia. So it doesn't surprise me that, having worked for so long on the details of how a Labor government would change Australia's foreign policy, that when she is there 2.5, nearly 3 years into the role as Foreign Minister, that she wants to keep doing this for as long as she can. I know she's a very private person and she loves to see her family, but it would be incredibly difficult given the travel that she's been doing in this role. But there's confirmation, as you've got, Kieran, that she doesn't want to go anywhere for now, that the speculation about her retirement is not going to come to fruition. Yeah,
and our thoughts with Penny Wong and her mum and the family, obviously, that she's not well, and we wish them all the very best at what is a difficult period for her. And it goes against what is the trend of a very hard-working minister. She doesn't miss anything, really. Yeah. So I think that's why it's important to provide that clarity around the fact that she won't be attending the G20 Foreign Ministers, but she isn't going anywhere in terms of her position. A couple of points to pick up on what you said. The Prime Minister will be relieved because Penny Wong is a close confidant. But also, when you look at polling, the most credible ministers, Penny Wong is at the top. She polls incredibly well. People think she's a credible minister and doing a strong job.
Well, Kieran, Roy Morgan at the end of last year pointed out that Penny Wong's rating, she's the highest, most trusted politician we have in Australia, and she's done that over the course of decades in a steady, meticulous and quiet way, I would have to say. She is not someone who trumpets herself out there publicly, quietly going around behind the scenes and getting on with her job. But as you say, for the Prime Minister, he'll be happy to keep her there. To me, there's no obvious replacement within Labor ranks as to who would be a Foreign Minister if Penny Wong were to suddenly go. So we wish her mother well and hope things are okay there in Adelaide, what would be a very tough time for her and the family.
Indeed, Trudy. Now, the blame game, we heard it well and truly, didn't we, in the last 15 to 20 minutes? Yeah. The blame game is well and truly underway in terms of the border protection issue and the boatload of asylum seekers that arrived.
Dramatic shifting of gears here, really. This is a huge political bun fight at the moment between the Prime Minister and Opposition Leader Peter Dutton. Both of them publicly are going at each other when it comes to border protection. The Opposition Leader has been right at the forefront of this since Friday, since we first learned about this cohort of people who arrived in remote part of Western Australia. Around 40 people in total that were then rounded up essentially by Border Force, taken to Nauru where they will now remain. The Prime Minister says the Opposition Leader, Peter Dutton, is being reckless in his rhetoric by publicly pointing out potential flaws in Australia's border security system under Labor. He is essentially providing free fodder for the people smugglers. Have a look.
The people who were unauthorised arrivals into Western Australia just days ago now find themselves on Nauru, and they will not be settled here in Australia. We have clear positions in place. We'll continue to do so. Peter Dutton will continue to be a cheer squad for things that actually undermine our borders.
It's inconceivable that a boat of this size, carrying 40-plus people, could make it to the mainland without there being any detection. And the Prime Minister carried on with some stupid story about his phone not working in the car and he couldn't be contacted. He was caught completely by surprise. You've got a Prime Minister who is asleep at the wheel. You've got a situation where Labor doesn't believe in Operation Sovereign Borders.
Now, while the Prime Minister might be publicly telling Peter Dutton to cool down the rhetoric, I don't think that's going to happen, Kieran. The opposition coalition believe they are on firm ground when they speak on this issue. They can point to these to this large cohort that arrived on Friday, but also the cohort we heard about as well that slipped through the net last November and arrived at that airbase of WA as well.
So much history in this issue. Every time it comes up, both sides, I think they're probably scar tissue, certainly on Labor's side of this political equation.